Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Russell Jackman. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. And since we are in the tail end of baseball season, it's the all-time baseball roster. Now, this is going to be according to the guy who created the list. So it's not necessarily my trivia, or necessarily objective. Okay. But with the questions,
that much qualification to it, I know I'm going to get these wrong.
don't worry. There's not too many guys from the 1700s playing. So at least that leaves out a couple of centuries. When we come back, and now if we have time, I have a whole bunch of fun Bob Uecker quotes that are just so funny. I just love these guys. He was so witty. Him and Yogi Berra. I bet both of them were like totally brilliant. In fact, I think Bob Uecker's still alive. But it's funny when you get these guys who are comedians. Do you remember Gene Stapleton, Edith Bunker from All in the Family? Yeah. So in real life, I mean, obviously, she played Dingbat in All in the Family, but apparently she's really brilliant. So. Which is okay. This is totally off topic, but I was just reading a little synopsis. Do you know Hedy Lamarr? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So she absolutely.
She invented the wireless networking signals that we have now and online encryption.
Yeah, and here she was, this beautiful starlet, from the 30s, I think it was. And also, who's the other one? Jane Mansfield, another blonde bombshell who had an IQ of like 165 or something ridiculous. So just can't judge the book by its cover. All right, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. I know we diverted a little bit. We're going to be back and talking some good sports. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Russell Jackman. All right, Russell, where do you want to start?
Well, first of all, this is the thing, is when you are talking to somebody who has a fantasy football team, you don't ask them how the weather is. You don't ask them how their family is. What you really should start off with is, how is your fantasy team doing? That should be your number one, because that is every fantasy football player's number one concern.
Okay, well, then let's start off. Let me start off all again.
My team is doing lousy.
Your team's doing lousy?
Yes.
That's anyway. Well, the thing is, they're not going to fire you, are they?
I'm ready to fire myself. In fact, I'm ready to put my dog in charge, because I just am not getting any luck. Watching the Raiders kicker bounce one off the goalpost last night cost me my fantasy game.
That
was the field goal I needed to go ahead of my opponent, a long-standing enemy of mine, and somehow that just the one kick I needed from him just bounced off the uprights. And as of Monday, I'm a bitter man, but I'm not bitter because around here, the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl before the Super Bowl, which was the Dallas Cowboys against the 49ers, went the 49ers way, and I am basking in the glow. It's sort of a perfect storm for the Bay Area, because the Giants are out of it, the Warriors haven't started, and so all focus was on the 49ers this week.
Yeah, well, they definitely came through. So hold on, did you say you have an enemy in fantasy football?
Yes. Yeah, I've played against this guy for over 20 years. and the weird part is that when I play against him, almost always it comes down to the Monday night game. And it almost always comes down to the final play, or like within the last 2 minutes of Monday Night Football, the conclusion of Monday Night Football, that renders our game a victory or a loss.
So how much do you think that your enemy paid the kicker to miss that field goal?
Oh, well, I'm beginning to think that there's some sort of fix that's
conspiracy. Yeah, it's interesting. And I still don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is that he good looking guy, but I just don't think he's a very good quarterback. They have. I was looking at a stat last night. So they're 2-3, and they still haven't scored 20 points. So per game. So it seems like it's really the defense that has really stepped up.
Yeah, there's been some of that, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it really, depends on what side of the ball you're really looking at. But yeah, you see, well, with like, for instance, the 49ers beating Dallas, it wasn't just their offense that knocked Dallas flat, but it was also the incredible
Oh,
defense that they
defense.
could pull.
Yeah. Was it 42-10? Was that the final?
Yes,
Yeah. So
it
yeah,
really
you
should
take
have been
their points.
49-10, but McCaffrey dropped the ball
Yeah.
on the goal line. So, that would have been another score for the 49ers.
Well, it's interesting because he's quite a perfectionist. I wonder how he's going to be doing this week within himself. I'll bet he's really just going to just beat himself up over that fumble.
Maybe so, but maybe he's also in that mode, like, and this is what I think is so great about the 49ers, is that no one player, I think, feels responsible for the outcome of the team at this point. If you
True.
don't get the job done, one of your other teammates is going to step up and get it done for you. Like
Yeah.
Kittle played great offensively. We saw Mason step up
Yeah.
and lead the team in rushing. We've seen Juice Check catch a
Yes.
couple of very wide open passes. And right now, I don't, it is like fighting against a fighter who can, hit you with both hands and kick you. You
Yeah.
don't really know where the next strike is going to come from, or he'll headbutt you. You if you grab both his arms and stand on both of his feet, he's still going to hit you in the head, or he's going to bite you. So, the 49ers are, yeah, what's a little worrisome is that they're so good so early. You just
Yeah.
wonder if they'll actually wind up peaking too early, and somehow, it only takes one bad game when you're in the playoffs, and
True.
you're all done.
Well, mostly just if you keep the guys healthy, because there's still just too many injuries going on around the league. I got a question for you. I was actually looking at some generic sports stories this morning, and this was actually directed at hockey, but I thought it could really be to pretty much any sport. What do you think about the refs in sports talking to the media after controversial calls? You think that would be
Hmm.
like a disaster, or because it'd be really difficult. I don't know. I mean, in some cases, it could really justify what they were thinking. I know that even with the instant replay and all that. I mean, I was thinking about like last night, there was the catcher's interference, which was really hard to tell. Now, in this case, the catcher actually afterward did say, "Yeah, you know what? I think I hit him," but it was so minor. I mean, the umpire really had good ears for that. But you think even with instant replay and all that, sometimes you wonder, you go, what were they thinking? So what do you think about the refs talking to the media?
Well, in the NBA, it's kind of the opposite. What they do is they criticize the referees after Silver issues a report that says all the mistakes the referees made, and the referees don't get a chance to say anything about it. Um, on the one hand, it would offer explanations. On the other, you know, I think it also could infuriate some people who like
Yeah.
would say, you know, it, like, for instance, like in baseball, you have Angel Hernandez.
I was just thinking about that with the home run, that you even with the replay, you could still tell that he made a
Yeah,
mistake. Yeah.
and he has never admitted once that he's been really the living argument for computerized
Yeah.
umpires
Yeah.
and computerized strike zones. And he's been so inconsistent. He's terrible against the Giants. I mean, he's just
Yeah.
one of the worst umpires ever. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not sure you would get out of him anything that is satisfactory
Yeah.
to explain why things would happen. Plus, he might, just blow it off and just say, "Well, that's how I saw it." I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
in the
you
end,
know,
that's what you're going to get out of most referees is they're going to say, that's what I saw in front of my own two eyes. If
well,
you don't
one
like
thing
it,
I did appreciate was, and I don't remember how many years ago, probably 10 years ago or more, an umpire had actually ruined a perfect game by calling a base runner safe when he was out, and that would have ended the game. Everyone would have ended everything. And on replay, the umpire had this. So yeah, this had to be. It was before replay, so however long that was. And the pitcher actually was very gracious, but it was awesome to see the umpire basically afterward just say, you know what, I feel so badly. He goes, I ruined it for that kid. I really respected the fact that he owned up to his mistake, because hey, listen, okay, we all know we make mistakes. As long as you're not on the take and you don't have any bias, then okay, oops, you made a mistake. Okay, are you ready for our first trivia question?
unless you're Donaghy, and then
Unless you're Donahue, but again, he was on the take. So
yeah.
okay, so we're talking here. Here's our trivia questions. They're based on the all-time baseball roster, and again, this is according to the guy I found on Fun Trivia. All right, here we go. This
I'll be the
American,
judge of that. I'll be the
okay,
judge of that.
you'll be the judge of this. Okay, this American leaguer was selected as the team's catcher. So we're going to be, well, he did all 9 positions, or actually 10, including designated hitter, but we're only going to go through 3 of them. So this American League leaguer was selected as the team catcher, winning 3 MVP awards and going to more than 5 World Series. Who is this Hall of Fame catcher? All right, that is our trivia question. Stay with us. Sports Econ, we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Russell Jackman. Our first trivia question on all-star or all-team roster baseball players here. So this American leaguer was selected as the team's catcher, winning 3 MVP awards and going to more than 5 World Series. Who is this Hall of Fame catcher?
Yogi Berra?
Yes, very good. There was
but I
a
was thinking he didn't win MVP 3 times.
he did apparently.
He's a great catcher, but not. And Johnny Bench was on the NL team, right?
NL, yeah. So I love the Johnny Bench. In fact, I still remember in 1967, 68, my dad telling me we were watching a baseball game on TV, and he said, boy, this young kid, Johnny Bench, boy, you watch him. He's going to be a good catcher.
And he was.
And he was. So, there's one stat that Yogi Berra has that was something ridiculous. Like he didn't allow 76 runners. Like he threw out 76 runners in a row or something ridiculous, or he hadn't had a pass ball in 76 games or something. It was just some outrageously awesome statistic for a catcher. I'd have to kind of go back to that, but yeah, it's so funny. We always think of Yogi Berra with all of his isms, and then but then you go back and you realize how good a catcher he really was. Hey,
Sure,
are you ready for some fun Bob Uecker quotes?
Oh yeah, maybe those maybe even be better than your dad jokes at the end.
Maybe better. Yes, I think actually they are better than my dad jokes. Okay, so Bob Uecker quotes: "I signed with the Milwaukee Braves for $3,000. That bothered my dad at the time because he didn't have that kind of dough, but he eventually scraped it up."
Yeah.
And when I came up to bat with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 9th, I looked at the other team's dugout and they were already in their street clothes. Okay.
I've always used his when I look at my tickets for an event and they're all the way up at the top, I always go, "Oh, I should be sitting in the front row."
Yeah, that's right.
That was
I'm in the
one
front
of his
row.
quotes
Yeah.
from his Miller Lite commercial.
That's right. That was great. Okay. I knew my career was over. In 1965, my baseball card came out with no picture.
Yeah.
And in 1962, I was named Minor League Player of the Year. It was my second year in the bigs.
Well, he was always good at the self-effacing humor.
Oh, absolutely. I got a few more here that are really good. Okay, the way to catch a knuckleball is to wait until it stops rolling and then pick it up. And my 2 career highlights: I got an intentional walk from Koufax, and I got out of a rundown against the Mets. And the biggest thrill a ball player can have is when your son takes after you. That happened when my Bobby was in his championship Little League game. He really showed something, struck out 3 times and made an error to lose that game. Parents were throwing things at our car and swearing at us as we drove off. Gosh, I was proud.
Wow.
And then it says here, I hit a grand slam off Ron Herbal. And when his manager came out to get him, he was carrying Herbal's suitcase. Because my kids used to do things to aggravate me too. I'd take them to a game and they'd want to come home with a different player. I had a great shoe contract and a glove contract with a company who paid me a lot of money, never to be seen using their stuff.
Yeah, that I can see. That I can see. But
Just a couple,
hey, Miller Lite
hold on. I just have a couple more here that are kind of funny. Because my top salary was in 1966. I made $17,000, and 11 of that came from selling other players' equipment. And the last
Okay.
one was I hit a home run off of Koufax and apologized to him because I thought that home run would keep him out of the Hall of Fame. Those are so funny. I
Somehow
love those.
they forgave him.
Oh, those are great. Hey, a quick little shout out here to Simone Biles becoming the most decorated gymnast in history, winning 6th all-around title. You know, now were you too young to watch Nadia Comaneci?
No, I do remember. I not only remember that, but I remember Nadia's theme.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Which was the dun 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 dun.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
You know,
but I mean, I still remember when they had all these zeros up there, and everybody was like starting to rustle, and then they started to boo, and then if I remember, the announcer finally coming on and saying, "For United, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in history, a perfect 10." And then after that, they started giving away 10s like it was nothing.
right.
But do you remember Olga Korbut before
Yes.
her?
Yes,
Boy,
I do.
I still remember her uneven parallel bar where
Yeah.
she did that
She did
flip
one
and
move that they've never done that's never been repeated. There's one
yeah.
move that she did during her Olympic routine that no other athlete has ever tried since.
Yeah, the one
So
where she goes from top to
yeah,
bottom, turns around, and then goes backward and catches the bar. Yeah,
Billy, that was no, she
still
was
remember it.
quite a pioneer. Of course, the horrible abuse that she suffered,
Yeah,
by the coach, by the
yeah,
coach that she
Russian.
had was not so pretty. And unfortunately, too many girls have had negative experiences with their coaches that,
Yeah,
it's a pretty brutal sport, not something that I ever wanted my daughter to experience. So she's never done any real heavy gymnastic stuff. Also, I love my daughter, but she's totally uncoordinated. My son's the one who has the gymnastics
oh,
gene in him, and my daughter, she's the artist, not the athlete. So
okay.
that's how that's been working.
And does he do an iron cross on the
He
on the
could,
rings?
if
Really?
if I could convince him to. He doesn't have a ton of arm strength, but he has no body weight, so holding
Yeah,
himself up. Now that was my big problem, was that I had enough arm strength, but my body is so damn huge that I couldn't hold myself. I was okay at the pommel horse. That was like the
oh
one
yeah,
thing that I
yeah,
could do,
I
that I was
remember
okay at. But
that.
other than that, I wasn't a phenomenal gymnast myself either.
It's interesting. I'm actually more like your son, but I actually did have the arm strength, and so it was. I still remember this when I was a senior in high school. I had we actually back then we actually had a real gym with weights and everything to work out in, and there I had this. He was a fairly new coach, and he had the perfect body for doing bench press because he was short, stocky, short armed type thing, right? But that also meant he could do a lot of dips, and he had this t-shirt with a big smiley face. Happiness is a 400-pound bench press. Trying to impress everyone, right? So somehow we got to talking about how I said, you know what, I can do a lot of dips. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay. And he goes, I can do twice as many as you can. I said, no, you can't. And he goes, yeah, I can. I said, no, you can't. And so we ended up we ended up having like this little contest, right? And so I let him go first, and he did like 50 of them, right? And and I got to doing 30, and I said, okay, can I stop now? Because the thing is, I weighed nothing, and so it was really a lot easier for me to do these dips. But 400-pound bench press, that's pretty good. I like that. Um, so, something I was bringing up a couple of weeks ago, we didn't have time. $50 million in his investment into pickleball. 8 million people played last year, up 159% over 3 years. And there's lots of celebrity investors: Tom Brady, LeBron, Kevin Garnett, Patrick Mahomes, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of others. Holy smokes. I mean, I guess they're going to go into this. I wouldn't be surprised if they make this an Olympic sport.
Yeah, I could see that coming because it's become so popular. I mean, will it replace ballroom dancing, as an Olympic sport? Will it replace dressage as an Olympic sport?
Wait. What was the other one? Massage?
Dressage.
What is that?
You don't know what this dressage is? It is an Olympic sport. It's a horse controlling exercise where you have the horse walk around in a square in a specific type of routine, and you get judged on how the horse executes while you're riding it. It's like a military thing that was, big with the
Oh, okay.
Greeks back
I didn't know they
in the day.
called it that, but I know that, like, you see sometimes the horse is prancing and
Yes,
doing sort
yes,
of.
that's
Oh,
dressage.
gotcha.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
dressage, and I'd actually rather see pickleball as much as I really don't care about pickleball at all. I'd rather see pickleball than I
It's like
just
tennis.
the one main thing about me. I mean, one of the major things about me is I'm against animal sports. So
Yeah.
anything that gets
Yeah.
animals out of the sporting, you know, realm and puts humans in charge. I'd rather
Yeah.
see humans playing tiddlywinks than a horse doing anything, sports wise.
Yeah. And what about greyhounds
Hate
chasing
it.
a rabbit?
Hate it.
Oh, that
Absolutely hate it.
well, it's funny. I'm thinking, I mean, I don't like to know what they actually do to the greyhounds, like, feeding them or drugs or anything like that. But just the fact that they're running and chasing a rabbit, that's not so bad. At least you're not riding it.
I think humans should bet on other humans competing. It's not fair
Okay, fair
to
enough.
make animals our sporting stuff. Now that we're in this realm of existence, we don't need to beat up animals or
I
whip
get, I
them,
get it.
starve them, or
I get
anything
it.
like that to get them to compete. You can do that to humans, and at least humans know what's going on and they know what they're competing for.
Okay, what about rats chasing a piece of cheese in the maze, trying to find cheese? Is that okay?
That sounds like what's going on in my house.
Okay.
So I
Okay, you
don't have
ready?
to bet
Hey,
on
we got to
that.
cut to another commercial break here. All right, this all-time second baseman went on uh, to win 7 batting crowns. Who are we talking about? Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman. Our second trivia question: this all-time second baseman won 7 batting crowns. And
Wow,
again,
that's
this is one guy's
short
opinion.
on. Yeah, that was a real short trivia question.
Yeah.
AL or NL? That's the only thing I can.
NL, but you don't necessarily, you have to go back in time for this one. So you wouldn't necessarily, and even if I mention the team, you may not get it because of that.
I don't know. I'm just gonna throw out Robbie Thompson. I can't think of anything.
Okay, so Robbie Thompson, he was good. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame, but he was good.
No.
Okay, so if I mention a batting average of 424, does that help?
Uh,
If I mention that it happened in 1924, does that help?
no, I'd
If
say
I
Ted
mention the
Williams.
St. Louis Cardinals, does that help?
No, Ted Williams is the only other guy I can think
If I,
of.
if I mention that when someone asks him, what do you do for winter? He says, I look out the window and wait for spring to come.
No, I don't. None of that. None of that registers.
Okay, how about he was not very well liked?
Ty Cobb.
No, but he wasn't a second baseman.
No,
They,
I
but
mean
they,
that now
yeah,
you're
okay,
throwing out,
okay.
now.
Rogers Hornsby.
Oh no, that wasn't coming up. You should have said his distant non-relative was the piano player,
Is it?
Bruce Hornsby.
Oh, were they actually related?
No,
Oh no, I'm not sure. Okay, maybe not.
probably the faster, probably relate to that faster than I would all your other stuff. So
Sure.
you said I get to carry this segment.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Let me
first
just
of all,
mention one very quick thing because this just happened last night. We're recording on Tuesday. Phenomenal ending to the Braves Phillies game. First time in history that a double play happened because of an outfielder to win the game. Do you see that? He made this great catch against the wall, and then Bryce Harper had gone from first to third, so he had to go back, retouch second, and he got thrown out at first base to end the game. Pretty cool. Okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
I that was a must-win for Atlanta. I'll tell
Yeah.
you that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, all the other teams, a lot of them have blown their home field advantage by losing 0-2, like Baltimore and your beloved Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, my beloved. I
Well,
just don't.
not
I just don't hate them like most
yeah,
San
I
Franciscans.
absolutely despise them. But last time we talked, the sports world had two legendary players pass
Oh,
away.
Dick
And one
Butkus.
was Brooks Robinson,
Yeah.
you
Oh
know,
gosh.
who other than
Oh,
Cal Ripken, I think absolutely embodied
yeah.
the concept of the Orioles and was maybe
Yeah.
one of the ultimate Orioles. Brooks, I mean, and not a negative word said about Brooks
Oh,
Robinson. I mean,
and the thing is, when a guy plays all his life, all his career with one team, that really embodies it.
yeah,
So when a player goes from one team to another, like Ricky Henderson, right? He was awesome, but he played for like
like
nine.
Durant, like Durant, like
Oh,
Kevin
Kevin
Durant.
Durant. Yeah.
He loses something in the fact that when you see guys jump around from whatever team to whatever team, I agree with you. A guy like Tim Duncan or Magic Johnson
Yeah.
or Steph Curry, or
Yeah.
aforementioned Steph Curry, when they put everything out for one team and
Yeah.
are loyal to it, and stay through free agency and through trade, they never get traded. I mean, he can't do much
Yeah.
about being traded, but
Sure.
but uh
Yeah,
you know
But going back to Brooks, though, I mean, I still read. So when I was a kid, what they allowed us to do a lot of times, in fact, I think almost all of the World Series was in the daytime, and so at lunchtime they allowed us to have whatever the TV that was in the classroom at the time, and they let us watch the World Series. So I remember watching the '69 Mets.
that's
And then
nice.
yeah, that was
We never
great.
watched the baseball in school.
Yeah, no, but again, it had to be during lunchtime, right? And then the next year, watch because I love the Mets and it was great that the amazing Mets. And then the next year, they Orioles got even not with them, but beating Cincinnati. And that's when Brooks Robinson just put on an absolute spectacular show, the Human Vacuum Cleaner. You watch those
Yeah,
highlights, and it was just he was just phenomenal.
yeah,
Uh,
absolute sports legend. And then also the passing of Russ Francis.
Oh, yeah, and Dick Butkus.
Yeah, and Dick Butkus. But
Yeah.
to me,
Russ was low.
Russ
Yeah,
Francis had a much bigger impact on my own life. I was always a huge, huge fan of
yeah.
Russ Francis when he was at the 49ers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
one thing a lot of people don't know about Russ Francis is that he was also involved in a WrestleMania.
Oh, that's right. Well, now that was in between him playing for New England or the Boston Patriots. And then it was not in between that or was it after he left the
No,
49ers?
it was after he was with the 49ers.
Oh, gotcha.
He
Yeah.
was still with the 49ers when he went into a battle royale in WrestleMania 2. And he was the last, and that was the one that had William the Fridge Perry
Oh,
in the
yeah.
battle royale. and there were a bunch of other football players in there too. But Russ Francis was the last football player eliminated. And why the reason why that is he actually knew what he was doing in the ring because his father was a pro wrestler.
Is that right?
Yeah, a
Well,
lot of
no,
people
but the thing
don't
is, though,
realize
isn't it, again, we've talked about this before, isn't it still a little bit staged?
to a point. Those battle royals are pretty crazy, and stuff goes on in them that is hard. They tell them when they're going to be eliminated, but sometimes guys get thrown out earlier, or they eliminate themselves because they don't want to get beaten up as badly as
Yeah,
they. the- What happens in the middle of a battle royal though is always up to question. Guys just call it in the ring, and they say you're going out now or you're not going out now. But Russ knew what he was doing in the ring, so
yeah.
he was not just kind of stumbling around like a lot of the football players were. He knew how to get out of the way and how to
Yeah.
make sure that he would be one of the last eliminated, and he was. His father, Ed, was a promoter and worked with The Rock's mother
Oh, oh, wow.
the shows over at Polynesian Pro Wrestling in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
So
Well, let me,
yeah,
I'm trying to remember those battle royales. Isn't it like, like 10 guys in the ring at the same time?
20.
20. Yeah. I mean, there's still too many guys. You're trying to watch, figure out who's who.
It was
But
Raw Chaos, and they had Andre the Giant in
yeah.
there, and I think he wound up winning the battle royale
So
because
what happens if a guy is supposed to go out and he just says, forget it. I'm not going to listen, I'm going to do what I want to do.
that's when guys do start. It's what they call the potatoing begins, which
Potato.
means the guys start punching you, and they start kicking the crap out of you anyway, and then
Yeah.
they'll just pick you up and throw you out of the ring. You know, it's sometimes very hard to tell a guy that's 6'10", 350 pounds that when you're 6'2", 250 pounds that you're
Yeah.
going to throw him out of the ring.
Yeah.
You out of the ring, he's going to throw you out of the ring.
Yeah.
But the other weird thing was that I don't know if you knew this, that Russ Francis died on the same plane as the co-passenger that he had
Yeah.
was the head of plane and aerial safety for the United States of
Oh,
America.
gee. No,
He
I didn't
was,
know
if
that.
anyone knew, like, would know that a flight would be dangerous or that the
Yeah.
plane wouldn't have been safe, it was his passenger. And so it's very ironic that
That's
he died in the
terrible.
same plane flight as a
Yeah.
man whose job was plane safety.
Yeah.
So what a weird way for someone to go. He was always a treasured member of the 49ers
Oh,
for
yeah.
me, and
He
really
helped
loved
them
me.
win. He helped them win one of them, I think.
I'm sorry.
Right? I think he helped them win one of their
Yeah, the one
just one.
45.
Yeah.
Yes, in 80-45. But then yeah, Dick Butkus, absolute
Yeah.
total legend, football player. Synonymous with the toughness
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
Bears.
yeah, and what's weird. I was looking at various comments, Facebook, and even they said this on TV, and they're totally wrong. They said and he was in film. He was in The Longest Yard. No, he wasn't. That was
No, he
Ray
wasn't.
Nitschke.
Yes,
Was Ray Nitschke, but and again, that's because he was a little before Butkus. There he started his career before Butkus, but yeah, in fact, I love Butkus so much. I had a poster of him, and when I
wow.
played flag football, I wore 51 because I thought, you always try to be the toughest one if you can.
Yeah, no, I mean his name is synonymous. Considering it's the punchline of a lot of dirty jokes. Um, uh,
Yeah.
uh, uh, he really was one of the absolute toughest men to play football in
Oh
his
yeah.
era.
I mean,
And
can you imagine how many flags would be thrown against him now? Now
yes,
he didn't necessarily play
yes,
dirty. He just played really rough, and the rules were different then, where you just keep running a guy out of bounds and slamming him. Uh,
absolutely,
but yeah, so
absolutely.
I just wonder how.
Not just that, but the attacks on the quarterback. I mean,
Yes.
you could
Yeah.
use your helmet. You could, go for the helmet. In fact, that's been another, point of controversy is with Christian McCaffrey, and I agree but I think that teams are really headhunting him a lot. And Dallas, started off with a face mask penalty where his helmet was yanked and pulled to the side, and then later in the game, one of the Dallas players had a helmet to helmet shot against him, and
I don't, it's weird. I mean, I understand a bounty like when Charles Martin picked up Jim McMahon and threw him on his shoulder. That was obvious, but I don't know, guys trying to tackle someone, he's not gonna, I don't think he's purposely looking for his face mask, and I know there was that helmet to helmet, but I don't know. I'd be really surprised if they really were going that aggressive, or making it that blatant.
I wouldn't be. I mean, the CMC is looking like he's got an MVP season in him right now, and if you're, a team like Dallas was desperate to get a win against the 49ers on Sunday.
Yeah, but then you know what though? I mean, if you're really that nasty, then go for his knees. Yeah, go for
I won't be shocked if we don't see teams trying to do that. But it is a little easier to grab onto the face mask than it is to hit.
Yeah, but you know what though? How many guys actually get hurt by the face mask? I mean, you can, but usually it's not like they're going to take your face mask and throw you down because of it, right? They'll hit the face mask, but then they'll generally try to let go of it.
I don't think you saw that first penalty.
No, I did. He didn't let go of it, but he didn't like drag him to the ground.
He did try to drag him down by the face mask. And in earlier weeks, there have been those same sort of moves done against Christian McCaffrey. And I would like to see those kind of face mask penalties result in a fine.
They very well may be. Hey, Russell, we're going to go to our third trivia question here. Okay. Third baseman selected was narrow down and close amongst these guests. Okay. Comparing stats versus season played side by side. My favorite player didn't make it. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Selected was a Gold Glove Hall of Fame inductee. Never won an MVP award. Who was this player that wore number 26 while winning his batting titles? It's kind of an odd number. All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman. Our third trivia question: played third base, wore number 26. Gold Glove, Hall of Fame inductee, but he never won an MVP award. Had a very nice high batting average. Very good third baseman. Played for two teams that I can remember, most notably known for playing with the Red Sox, but I think he also played with the Yankees. Who wore number 26? Come on. He played mostly in the 80s. Come on. And I think he won, how many batting titles did he win? At least, yeah, he won at least one, I know. Okay, I'll just give you the answer. Wade Boggs.
Oh, okay. I was thinking more Yankees than Boston. So
yeah, no, mostly known for Boston.
That he played for the Yankees.
Okay, are you ready for our thoughts for the day? And you're supposed to say always. Okay, so people used to laugh at me when I said, "Hey, I want to be a comedian." Well, nobody's laughing now. And you like that one? Okay, good. And I think I've used this one before, but I'm going to use it again. So my wife is always stealing my t-shirts and sweaters. But if I take one of her dresses, suddenly we need to talk. Yeah, right. All right. Tune in next. I didn't hear anything, Russell.
No.
You don't like that one?
Not as funny as I like it when you keep it related to sports.
What, the funny stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's hard. I got to find those again. I go back to Bob Euchre. He's really good at that. All right, audience, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We'll be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
So long.